couple of months ago, I decided to fly around the world. The trip turned out to be flying to Thailand for a couple of weeks, and then to Japan, Tokyo, and then finishing the trip in America. While I was on this trip, I filmed a lot of things, and I've actually made another series on this channel called If Not Now, When, just to try and document the trip a little bit, and to kind of give it meaning for me, because these are the 3 reasons why I decided to go on this trip. And what I'm hoping to figure out by the end of this video is, did I get anything out of it? Was it successful in these 3 subjects? I won't spoil the ending, I'll let you find out for yourself. So, the first reason I went on this trip was travel. Now, I've been to a lot of places in the world, either through work or through holidays with family or in relationships, and never really travelled on my own. Like when I've travelled for work, I've been to places like Europe, a lot of places like Germany, France, Ireland, quite a lot. I lived in Ireland for a year, effectively from a hotel room in Ireland. And I love travelling. I really enjoy travelling. I've never had any problems with flying. In fact, I really enjoy flying. It's some of the best sleep I get. Not the most comfortable sleep, but it's the best sleep I get. So yeah, I've travelled quite a lot, but it's always been for a purpose. It's always been for meetings or projects or something like that. Yeah, I've also never been further than Africa. I was born in South Africa. I was only 1 when I left, so I don't remember anything of it. Never felt a real reason to go back, although maybe I should since I was born there. Don't know. Been to Tunisia, and yeah, I think the furthest east I've been other than that would be Italy, Austria, so not too, well, Greece. Been to a lot of places, but most of these have been with family and relationships. Never been to Thailand or anywhere in Asia, and a lot of my friends who I've met at festivals and just basically random people that I've got talking to about travelling have always said that when they were in their 20s they went to Thailand or Japan, or someone went to Vietnam, and never really occurred to me to do it for myself. I never saw the appeal, and I decided that, yeah, I'm going to go to Thailand. So at very last minute, a couple of days before I flew, I booked my flights and I booked the hotels, so I knew where I was going. But beyond that, I didn't plan anything, and for me that's quite an achievement, because I'm a bit of an obsessive planner. Like when I've done road trips in America, I've used a website called roadtrippers.com just to make sure I see some stuff while I'm over there. Otherwise I'd just be happy driving. Like I really love driving in America, and I'd be happy just driving from California to Portland, and that would be me quite happy. But because I was travelling doing these road trips with partners, I think that played into it a little bit as well. So I always wanted to explore the world with someone, explore America, new places, and do new things with someone, but never for myself. So no planning, other than hotels and flights. I stayed for 5 days in Bangkok because all of the flights flew into Bangkok from Europe, so it made sense to do it that way. And I'd kind of feel like I'd missed out if I didn't stay in Bangkok for a couple of nights, so I did that, stayed in Bangkok in quite a nice hotel with a nice pool on the roof. I drank way too much tequila on night 2. Don't remember day and night 3, and I don't think I slept for most of that journey, most of that leg of the trip. Why are we auto-focusing so much? 1 sec. Okay, I'll do. So yeah, Bangkok. Don't remember much of it. I know I had a good time, but if you watch the video of me in Bangkok, just as I'm leaving, you'll see my face is really swollen. So I'm not sure if I ate something I shouldn't have eaten, or hangover, heat, I don't know, there's many reasons, but Bangkok was a bit of a blur. From there I spent a week in Pattaya, which is on the coast, not far from Bangkok, just south of there. It's more of a resorty kind of typical place to go if you want a summer holiday in Thailand. I remember most of that, that's good. But again, I just would have been quite happy spending most of my time in a hotel, so I really wanted to make sure I got out and did something. And that's why I went to the Sanctuary of Truth, which is a massive wooden temple, I guess. Again, there's videos of that on the series. And then from there I went to Ayonang, Krabi. So Ayonang is like the honeymoon resort area, and I didn't realise booking this trip that it would be a honeymoon resort. So first day or so I was a bit out of place, like I was on my own, single, happily single, but just conscious of the fact that I'm one of the only single men there, or single anyone there. And then from there I flew to Tokyo because the reason was, there's two things I wanted to do on this trip. Go somewhere I've never been, so Thailand, and go to America, because there was a music festival in Las Vegas called Life is Beautiful, and my favourite band, 1975, hence the tattoo. I went for something a bit more unique rather than the usual box tattoo. If you know the band 1975, you know that there's a rectangle shape which a lot of people get as a tattoo, which is lovely. But I wanted something a bit more personal to me. Plus, it's another lyric. It's a lyric from a band, LCD Sound System. So, and both of those songs sound very similar. So, it's for both bands really. So yeah, I wanted to go to Thailand and I wanted to go to America, to Vegas again. And so I was thinking, right, do I fly to Thailand, then fly back to Manchester, and then fly to Vegas for that part of the trip? And the reason I would have done that before was because of work. So I'd come back to England to do some work and then see my cat, because I live with a cat who up until this point would have been living here permanently. But regarding the work, I finished my job back in July, and so I had no work reason to come back. I was still doing some IT work from my laptop, which I could have done anywhere, and I did. But I wasn't tied to a 9 to 5 or tied to a particular job anymore. And regarding the cat, Heidi, she's I arranged with her mum, because when we moved into this place, we got a cat together, and I wanted the cat to have more time with her human mum, so I arranged for her to go and stay with her for an extended period of time. That's why she's not here now. She's coming back tomorrow. Very excited. So there was no real reason to come back to England, so I thought, well, can I fly from Thailand to America? And the answer was yes. I could stop off in Hawaii, have a layover in Hawaii, which I've never been to. But I thought, if I've just been, the idea of going to a really nice place like that on my own, just for a couple of days, I'd rather save that for a special occasion, like if I go with someone. The other option was a layover in Tokyo. And if I'm going to be staying in Tokyo for a few hours in the airport, I may as well stay for a few days in Tokyo and fly on from there. So that's what I did. I flew to Tokyo and spent 5 nights in Tokyo, not far from Shibuya and Shinjuku. Probably pronounced those wrong, let me know if I have. Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to do in Thailand was to recreate the beach. It's one of my favourite oldish time films. And I knew the beach that it was filmed on was closed at that time, but I still got to see some of the beach, similar beach places, and go on the boat and get the Instagram photo of me on the boat, and stuff like that. So I did that. And also in Tokyo, I wanted to recreate or revisit some of the locations from the film Lost in Translation, which I did. And I also went to Disney Sea, the Disney park in Tokyo, or just outside Tokyo. That was nice. And then flew on from there to Los Angeles, and then very quick change over to a flight to Las Vegas. So I got to do my festival, spent a lot of time in casinos, won a poker tournament, which for me, I'm quite proud of that. Played maybe 2 poker tournaments before that. I also wanted to try and live in America for a week or as close to it as possible. So I found an Airbnb out in Arizona, which was also a cat sanctuary, so I didn't miss cats too much, and got to live in America for a week. Only problem with that was I had an incident with the car I was renting, so I didn't have a vehicle to get around. So I was essentially stuck in my Airbnb for a week with a lot of blueberry muffins. So I was well fed. Then from there I flew back. I went back to Vegas for a couple more nights and then flew to London Gatwick and then got the train back from there. So I did travel around the world. I travelled from Manchester to Manchester via Thailand, Tokyo, crossed the date line, and then America, London, Manchester. And this is all in about a month with 2 or 3 days planning, like proper planning and booking everything. So did I get what I wanted out of it in terms of travel? Yes, absolutely. I've seen some new places that I love, a few places that I've used to love and now I'm kind of going off them. Like Las Vegas is, well, that's something we'll come on to the next subject. It's expensive and it's kind of losing its appeal for me now. So yeah, Tokyo was crazy and very busy, same as Bangkok. So I just don't think I like cities anymore. Yeah, so I would say I achieved what I wanted to achieve from those places, in that I don't want to go back to them. But Thailand, yes, I would like to go back to Thailand, and I most likely will. Oh, in case you're wondering, I'm doing November. This is 8 days of mow. I'm quite impressed with it, but I will shave it if it starts to become very annoying, which is likely to happen, knowing my tolerance to facial hair. I'm getting better at this. If you watch my previous video on quantum immortality, which is an amazing video, like how can you fault such amazing video work that I did with my iPhone? So on this video I've moved to doing a video with an actual DSLR. Hello. I'm still looking at the screen a lot because I'm checking the focus and I need to trust the camera. But I wasn't too happy with how it was auto-focusing all the time just in that first segment, so let's see how it goes. And also this time I'm not using the script. I'm working entirely off 3 points, which I'm getting to the second one. Hang on, I'm getting there. So yeah, looks pretty good, doesn't it? I'm happy with it all. I've got to fly away. One other side effect of the first reason for travelling, which is travel, about every 7 or 8 years I get itchy feet in terms of where I live, what I'm doing, relationships. I mean, there's the 7-year itch, which is, I think, is true. The idea being that we regenerate our cells every 7 years, so every 7 years we're effectively a new person. I don't know how scientifically accurate that is, but for me it seems to be the case. I've been living in Manchester for about 7 or 8 years. Roughly thereabouts. Before that I lived in my hometown for 7 years, and before that I lived in London for 7 years, and then before that I was a teenager, so it didn't really count. And I'm thinking about moving, but I don't know where. I don't feel attached to anywhere at the moment. I love Manchester, and I'd love to stay in Manchester, but there's no reason for me to stay here at the moment, other than that. And it's not cheap. I've just got this room kind of laid out how I want it, and now I'm thinking, oh, I should probably move soon. And the original plan was to make enough money so I could move to America, live in Arizona or Nevada or, somewhere kind of around there. That was one of the hopes with my filmmaking, and it still is one of my hopes, to have enough money to migrate to another country. But Thailand is extremely affordable. And that leads on to our next subject, which is money. I've never been good with money, and anyone who knows me well enough will know that I'd much rather spend my money on other people than on myself. And that's something that I'm working on changing in the last few years. I mentioned before, one of my main reasons for traveling is to show someone else the world. And when I experience the world for myself, I would love to move to Thailand, more so than America now, because it is affordable. My money history has been pretty abysmal. I had my first credit card at age 18, wasn't really shown how to use it. I just saw it as free money, and then next credit card, and then the next credit card. So I've always essentially been in debt in my life, and I imagine I probably will be unless I get extremely wealthy from a film I make or something. Not the main reason I'm doing it. I've been working in the same job for 12 years, somehow. And when I spoke to people about how, I spoke to my friends and family, like, how do I deal with this? Like, what do I do with this money? I could pay off my debts, and then I'll have no income. So I'll have to start racking up debts again. Or I could do something amazing, like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, such as travel around the world. I wanted to try and understand better why places like England, at the moment especially, and places like America have such a high price tag on just tourism, on things like hotels and food and excursions and stuff like that. Whereas places like Thailand are extremely cheap in comparison. And was it because those destinations are a bit rubbish, like compared to Vegas? And I know comparing Thailand to Las Vegas is a bit of a pointless comparison, but I wanted to try and experience one extreme into the next extreme. And Tokyo was kind of in the middle somewhere, but it was still a lot cheaper than I expected. So in Thailand, I spent maybe £100 on 5 nights of a hotel in Bangkok, a nice hotel in Bangkok. That's like $120, I guess. And then the other hotels I stayed in were cheaper because they weren't in the middle of a city, but still very, very cheap. Food was, you could probably eat out 3 meals a day for £10 a day if you were particularly picky, and it would be good quality food as well. And things like nightlife, entertainment, probably could get expensive if you wanted it to, but the way I did it was I didn't go too crazy with the nightlife. I let myself have a few nights where I spent a lot of money, but I think the most I spent was that night in Bangkok, and I think I spent about £100 on, from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m., mostly on tequila shots for me and other people that I was with, that I met up with when I was there. Imagine that, £100 on tequila shots in Manchester or Las Vegas would probably last about an hour. So it must be to do with quality, right? Like, it must be, these places must be worse off because, they can't charge much because they're not very good. But no, I had a better time in Thailand than I've had for a long time on my own, and for much less money. So I started looking at things like house prices and, could I actually afford to live here? And yes, I absolutely could. Like, once I start getting some money coming in from my freelancing work or side projects like, this, I guess, would be nice. But, if I have something regular coming in, I absolutely can just go to Thailand, or at least live there for half a year, or something like that. And another benefit for that would be health. Like, my nose is red. I sound congested because it's now autumn in Manchester, which means it's raining, and it's damp, and it's cold, but not cold enough for snow. And it's like everything. I'm allergic to everything, basically. I'm allergic to cats. which is a shame because I love cats, but I tolerate it. I use things like nasal sprays and medicine to try and help with all that, and it's still maybe once every 2 weeks I'll have a massive outbreak and I won't be able to do things like talk on the phone without sneezing, and none of that happened when I was away. In Thailand, in Tokyo I had a little bit of it. I think the hotel room I was staying in had a bit of black mould by the air conditioning unit. I'm not sure what it was, but I would wake up in the morning with a very dry throat and whatever. But then in America I was fine. Even with the cats I was fine. So my health would definitely benefit from living somewhere warmer. I'd be eating better food, although I'm getting better at food, I guess. And then going to Vegas was just a massive culture shock for many reasons, but money was one of them. I absolutely wouldn't move to America at the moment. Wouldn't be able to move to America at the moment, and for various reasons, but money is what I'm talking about here. So I think, did I get what I wanted out of the trip in terms of money? I don't know. I still spent a lot of money, mostly in America, trying to have a good time and not worrying about budget, because for the first time in my life I wasn't using credit cards to spend. I wasn't using credit cards to buy things. So that's good. And that meant I was able to budget better, and I knew how much I was spending every day, and I wasn't afraid to check my bank balance, and yeah, I knew that when I got back I wouldn't suddenly have to pay a lot more every month on interest. And yeah, I'm just not good with money. Just never had it. Never had that ability to budget. Ask any of my exes, they'll tell you the same thing. So did I get what I wanted out of the trip in terms of money and understanding money better? No. I'm more confused than I was before. I couldn't tell you why Thailand is cheap. I couldn't tell you why America's expensive. I'm just not into finance in that way. And I don't really want to. I don't want to worry about things like money. Is the one thing that stresses me out the most, and is probably the main catalyst for mental health issues and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I didn't get what I wanted out of it, but I had a great time trying to figure it out. Reason number 3 I went away was happiness, which is a very vague term. Like, what is that anyway? But before I move on to that one, I'll just drop a little content warning in, because I will be talking about things like mental health, particularly my own. And I know some people might not want to hear that. So thank you for watching if you've made it this far, and give me a thumbs up anyway. And subscribe and all that. Reason number 3, out of focus 3, happiness. So I mentioned earlier that I do the whole 7-year itch thing. I believe in that quite strongly for me. And when I mentioned where I lived previously, that also tied in with relationships I've had, which have all lasted about 7 years, give or take. And I've been out of a relationship now. I've been single for just, over 2 years. Or coming on to 2 years. It's been a bit of a whirlwind this last few years. And I mentioned before that when I've gone to places or experienced new things, I've always done it with someone else in mind. And not so much that I want to show people things. Like, I was more than happy, I was excited to go to places that I've been with my ex-girlfriend, my last girlfriend, because I got to experience it through fresh eyes. It was exciting to see new places for her, and I had the knowledge to kind of make sure we had a great time, because I've been to a lot of these places myself. But not only that, I realised over the last few years that I became the person that I believed my partner wanted me to be. Just to go back a little bit further, I was originally diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and more recently borderline personality disorder, and there may be another personality thing going on somewhere, but that's under control for the moment. The borderline personality thing essentially means for me that I feel things extremely. So, and I have difficulty handling those emotions in the same way that maybe other people have more experience with, or essentially when something is going well, I'm extremely happy and manic, and when things are going badly, I'm extremely depressed. And I don't know how to deal with that sometimes. A lot better now than I was before. I've had therapy and counselling and things like that, and I'm in a better place, much better place than I was even this time last year. But I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I've always been the person that my partner wanted me to be. In my opinion, I was trying to be the best version of me for them, rather than the best version of me for me. So the last year, especially the last year, I've kind of just detached myself from my past and tried to understand what I want, who I want to be. And so maybe one of the things I missed out on when I was younger is the travel thing, the being single thing. And I've never been single in my life until these last few years, so I didn't know how to live on my own. It's stupid things like that. I didn't know how to live on my own. I didn't know how to feed myself properly. I didn't know how to manage my money properly, as I mentioned before. And I figured if I threw myself in the deep end and went to somewhere I'd never been before, I would pick up a few things on the way. I'd learn a few things. And I've definitely changed in the last 7, 8 years in terms of what I enjoy. And I think a lot of it is because I was enjoying things for someone else. I don't think that's a bad thing, but it is the whole codependency thing, isn't it? It's you're relying on someone else to be happy, or to even get by, without any consideration of the fact that they might have feelings too. They might have desires outside of you, and I'm not talking about jealousy and things like that, but you can't pin your entire life on someone else. I think one of the reasons I went on this trip was to try and understand who I was and what makes me happy. And I decided that I enjoy travel. I do enjoy visiting new places. I also enjoy doing nothing and just being somewhere different and doing nothing, just watching Netflix in a hotel room, or reading a book. I say that I'm terrible at reading a book by the pool, or filming stuff, and being social and chatting to people online, and making new friends on my trip. And so I enjoy all that, and I do enjoy that for myself, and I will do more of that once I have some kind of income. Other than that, what makes me happy? Music, film, video, what I'm doing now. Terrified of this camera business right here, but I'm getting better at it because I want to be better at it. So did the trip help me with my happiness? Yeah, because even though I mentioned before I had a few bad days on the trip, they weren't bad. I was still in an exotic place with lots to see and do, and I wasn't here in Manchester where I have a lot of memories and a lot of it's not necessarily easy for me to go out and explore the city because memories. So yeah, I think I got what I wanted out of that trip for the happiness side. And the fact is, I did have those bad days, and I recovered from them, and I was able to acknowledge the fact that I was having a bad day while I was having a bad day, so it didn't suddenly become that the world is suddenly shit and I can't handle it anymore. It was, okay, I see what's happening here. I acknowledge the fact that I'm in a honeymoon resort on my own. Everyone else is walking around with, with their partners holding hands and buying roses and stuff like that. I acknowledge the fact that I'm feeling down because of that, But is that what I want for myself right now? Do I want to have someone that I'm walking around with and holding hands? No. So why am I being miserable about this? And it was very busy in my head. Like, a lot of discussion going on in my brain. But I was able to still pull myself out of it and say, okay, I'll be better in a few hours. I'll be better after some sleep, or a lot more tequila, or a lot less tequila. So yeah, I think it definitely helped. Yeah, and another thing, just to kind of bring this all to a close, is this time last year I made a film. It'll be a subject for another video. I'm quite looking forward to going into that a bit more. And it definitely felt like a fluke with how successful it was. I say successful, you've never heard of it probably, but in terms of me going from not doing film at all to releasing a film, premiering it in Hollywood, winning awards for it, that's, that changed my life in a massive way, and it continues to have effects on my life going forward in terms of I don't work in IT anymore. I don't want to be doing that anymore. And yeah, I think the trip was to try and put that into perspective and just try and figure out where I go next. Do I want to be doing travel videos? No, I maybe when I get better at this YouTuber thing, I'll be better at that. But do I want to make a film somewhere exotic? Well, yeah, obviously I do. And I wanted to go away and finish a screenplay that I've been working on, and I didn't manage to do that. And I've acknowledged the fact that I'm not a good screenwriter. I'm not talented at writing screenplays, and it stresses me out. I just don't have that kind of vision. I'm more of a visual person. And the idea for this screenplay is very much a essentially non-scripted thriller, but you need a screenplay, So it made me realise I need to get someone to help with writing the screenplay before I can actually jump in and make the next film. But that's a subject for another video. I'm rambling now. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about stuff. If you want to watch the travel series, you can. It's all on my YouTube channel, and I'll put a link at the end in the description, etc., etc. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of this, my second video of this kind. And let me know where you've travelled, or if you've got any travel plans that maybe I can impart some of my impromptu wisdom on, or any suggestions on where you think I should go next. Yeah, just thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day, and don't get rained on. I'm going to get rained on.